am very pleased to present our first team, Team Madagascar. This is a team made up of 5 Chevening alumni from Madagascar. The presenter today will be Valimbavaka Raherimananjara, and answering questions in the chat box we have Juliana Andriantsiferana. So without further ado, we will hand over to Team Madagascar.
Thank you so much for giving us the floor. Hi, we are Team Madagascar. So let's now go straight to the point. Next slide, please. Not so long ago, we all thought that climate change was something for our grandchildren to solve, but it's no longer something that is abstract for Madagascar, which is currently experiencing the world's first climate change-induced famine, according to the United Nations. A drought that has now lasted 4 years is affecting an estimated 1.35 million people who are currently food insecure, and a wave of acute malnutrition is affecting more than 100,000 children, according to the World Food Programme. This is the 16th episode of famine in Madagascar, but the worst in 40 years, and climate change has surely played a role. With almost 90% of the population working in the agricultural sector, the inability to cultivate crops has left people without food and resources. Unfortunately, the south of Madagascar remains a project graveyard because of the lack of synergy of actions and the discrepancy between the priorities and the cost effectiveness of the solutions proposed by the actors in the sector. So what solutions do we, Team Madagascar, suggest? Next slide, please. Related to the context in the south of Madagascar. Next slide, please. Related to the context in the south of Madagascar, agroecological approach is identified as the most suitable solution to address climate change issue in those areas. Agroecology is a multi-sectoral and a sustainable solution to tackle food security and water scarcity in the south of Madagascar. In terms of agriculture, mixed cropping and intercropping will enhance moisture conservation, soil fertility improvement, and nutritional diversity. And to address water scarcity, irrigation and water conservation have to be considered. Next slide, please. Related to the context in the south of Madagascar, ownership defined by a bottom-up approach is an important aspect to ensure better implementation and sustainability of any policy. Therefore, hearing the community voice in order to identify their needs, discuss with them about the traditional and existing practices, which means the proposed solution will come from the community. Next slide, please. As far as the policy implementation is concerned, several lines of action should be considered. First, regarding funding for adaptation, must be directed towards this long-term and sustainable solution and not be limited to the immediate solution of goods ready for consumption. Although we believe that these different solutions are equally important in the light of this situation. To this end, the government as well as civil society organizations play an important role in drawing the attention of the internal community leaders to the critical case of southern Madagascar. There is no one-size-fits-all solution, though, related to agroecological practices, and the most suitable technical approaches should emerge from the local knowledge. It is therefore the duty of the central government to dedicate the necessary resources to set up a community and a substantial budget for the research and development of agroecological approaches. In addition, strong governance at all levels is required, whether at the level of the local community or of central government. And this must be underpinned by a vision for the South around agroecology. The scaling up of this vision then depends mainly on the external and international allies mobilized for this fight. Hence, the need for strong synergy between all stakeholders. Last but not least, capacity building is probably one of the main pillars of implementation. With the support of technical and financial partners, along with the local and national authorities, small orders and rural families should be supported and trained in the process of defining local practices and ownership acquisition. Monitoring and evaluation systems are to be defined upstream for impact measurement. And in light of all of this, COP26 should be a golden opportunity for the Malagasy government to claim compensation that is clearly owed to the population of southern Madagascar. Thank you so much.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for such a wonderful start, Valimbavaka. That's really opened up a lot of thought areas for us all. I will ask our judges if there is a question for Valimbavaka. If you just pop your hand up, one judge. Oh, we've got an applause. So congratulations to you. I don't see a question from any of our three judges.
Oh, I've got a question.
Oh, please go ahead.
Sorry, I was looking for my hand, but I couldn't find it.
That's right. Just jump in. That's great. Thank you very much. Over to you.
I get my question is, what do you see as the main barriers to implementation? I guess the single biggest barrier to effective implementation of your policy, and how would you seek to overcome that barrier?
So in Madagascar, as it is not the first episode of drought, it is now the 16th episode, but it is the worst. We mean by project graveyard that there has been solutions that have been implemented in the past, but as I said before, there is this lack of synergy between the international actors and also between government actors such as the Ministry of the Environment and the Ministry of Water and even the Ministry of Blue Economy. As we all know as well, Madagascar, as many African countries, is really suffering from corruption and bad governance. So this really impeach some solutions to be applied, and at the same time, this the south of Madagascar, the regions that are most affected by the famine, are located in a I would say landlocked zone where it's almost impossible to intervene because there are many insecurity problems. So that means that to all of this, the government needs to have a specific vision for the South. But with the government, all actors should be all in it together. So we need intervention of the civil society to expand the network needed, but also to encourage all international communities to act, to give the necessary fund to tackle the problem and to realize a long-term solution. Thank you so much.